Hello and welcome back to episode 29 of our KoRail challenge. We're still obviously trying to get them to the Tour de France, but this episode, sadly, no World Tour races. We do have three very exciting tours that will make it difficult for us and make our life difficult, especially because in these tours we want to perform, because they're not World Tour races, so we don't want to cut slack here. We want to get good results. Starting off here with the International Tour of Hellas. 5 flat stages, 1 time trial there at the beginning, but look at that second and third stage. The hills and mountains are everywhere, so even though it is classified as a flat, it will be a very difficult race here for the sprinters. Can we put a result into it for us? I'm really hoping so, especially here in this Greek race, which will be tough enough. Next up, we have the Tour of Hainan. Again, 5 stages for us with 2 very hilly ones. The second one looks perfect for the punchers. The first stage, very, very flat, and it is a 2-point pro race. So with that 2-point pro, it must be easier than the other races that we've done so far. Again, hoping for a good result here in the Tour of Hainan. And third and last is the Pays de Loire Tour. The region Pays de Loire Tour, 4 stages this time, 2 flat ones, 1 time trial, and look at that last stage, hills everywhere. The first one also relatively hilly, but classified as a flat race. Very difficult here for our riders, but I'm hoping that our French riders in our, at this point, almost French-centric team will pull it off nicely. Let's quickly start off here with the first stage of the International Tour of Hellas, a time trial here for us today, which is not one of our specialties, but look at that, we have 3 riders in the top 10 here, in the favorites. KoRail Christoph surprisingly being the number 1, so I'm hoping that he can perform well. I'm surprised that Paul Fietzke is that low on the list. He generally has better time trial stats than most of our riders, but apparently this time not doing as well, sadly. So let's go through this course here with Christoph KoRail, the favorite of the race. You see the other riders have already gone. Fietzke currently in a 12th place. Severy Sawakovsky, who was, I think, 3rd on that list there, in 35th, so the favorite list is not really working out for us here. Hoping that Christoph KoRail can perform a little bit better here in this time trial, as it's only 8 kilometers long, so again, it's not the longest time trial that we have. It's also not incredibly hilly, so it should fit his terrain quite well. Obviously, he doesn't have the best mountain stats, but today with a +3 on his statistics is kind of insane. A +8 there on the prologue as well, so really, really good here for Christoph KoRail, looking really, really strong here. Riding up this small hill now with a max 3% increase of gradient, so not too terrible here as well. Then it's slightly downhill here on this second hill all the way towards the finish line, where it looks on the map as if it slightly goes up, but it just kind of flattens out, and then there we go. Slight uphill battle now where he gives all his energy and gets across the line here as 10th in the stage. In the end, getting a 11th place here in this stage. So pretty good job here by Christoph KoRail. Really, really good result here. The favorite of this race for the team, or for us actually, in a 10th place. So not really, you know, having that favorite result or favorite position. Not a first place here as was predicted originally, but still a 10th place and a 17th place for Paul Fietzke, so we have everything to fight for here in this Greek tour. On to the second stage, where it is much more hilly, but then it flattens out towards the end, and it will be perfect for the sprinters as long as they survive those initial hills. So in the end, this will be a mass sprint, hoping for Christoph KoRail to maybe get a first place, get those bonus seconds as well, and do even better here in the general classification.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining, and of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
Now, will we be those opportunists? I'm not entirely sure, as we have those big hills here in the beginning of the stage as well, and more towards the end. I think it might be better to save our riders in the peloton. I might send one out here with Joseph Turnbull, try and get at least a couple of those bonus seconds. But you see there is a breakaway already away, and when I try to attack the energy of Joseph is just immediately gone. So the group ahead runs away slowly but surely. I tried to send out Joseph once again, but he does not have the energy to really commit to a full attack here towards that front towards that front group here, trying to get away from the peloton. So it's a tough race here for him as he gets caught up by the peloton once again, sadly. That means that we skip immediately towards the end, and as you can see here, less than 7 kilometers ago. We survived the hills rather well. Florian Carpentier is absolutely dead. He struggled on the first climb already and kind of fell off the train here for us, so not able to get a good result here in this stage for him, but that's okay. We still have plenty of our riders left with 3 kilometers remaining. Normally I would have or like to have even less riders so we can spread out the peloton even more. That means we do a relatively early sprint here with Severy Savkovsky. We are all the way at the front of the peloton. You see some other riders also already sprinting. 1 kilometer to go. I sprint with Fietzke. Wait until the last moment here to sprint away with Christoph Kroll. He does an amazing jump here from the wheel of Paul Fietzke. Gets across the line here as first. The second place for Paul Fietzke as well. Incredible result here for our riders. A 1 and 2 here for the team. That should definitely move them up in the general classification. 10 bonus seconds for Christoph Kroll, and I think 6 or 8 for Paul Fietzke as well. So great result here for the team. Christoph Kroll winning the second stage here of the Tour of Hellas here in Greece. 10th place also for Severy Savkovsky, so a great sprint here for him. Maybe this is the better strategy to have, to be honest. Sprinting away with a little bit less than a kilometer to go with plenty of our riders, because we normally don't really get too many of these 1 and 2s or get this many riders in the top 3 here by the team, but in the end it worked out great here for us, so congratulations to Christoph Kroll on winning the second stage here. Asian Federaty also getting across the line here around a 30th position, so good job here by our Irish rider. And then you see here Joseph Turnbull as well, of course, towards the end. Florian Carpentier 11 minutes behind the peloton, really struggling on that mountain, unable to really get any movement towards the front, and falling behind sadly by 11 minutes. Christoph Kroll now 11 seconds away from the number 1, 6 positions moved up, so now in 5th. Paul Fietzke also moving up a couple of positions, so we are in a really good spot here with the team. Of course, we have 3 more races to go, so there's plenty of places to lose, plenty of time to lose, but also plenty of time to gain. It's always a 2 sides of the blade. A glass is either half full or half empty, and we're seeing it as half full, as we obviously got an incredible result here already in this second stage, gaining a bunch of positions as well. You see here Paul Fietzke now in 15th, 30 seconds behind the number 1, and maybe we can close that gap even more here in this third stage. Once again, a big hill here in the middle that we need to survive, and then it flattens out considerably. It will definitely be another mass sprint here. It should be perfect for Christoph Kroll.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It's going to be a monotonous day when it comes to the terrain, but at least the teams with sprinters won't be complaining, and of course, those opportunists with a bit of daring won't make their life easy.
There are some bonus seconds here at the beginning of this stage, so once again I think sending out someone here in the breakaway would be a good idea. I'm deciding to go for Paul Fietzke also because of his mountain prowess, hoping that he can make it towards the breakaway, towards those initial bonus seconds, gain some additional time here. He is 30 seconds off the lead, so it would be tricky for him, or it would be beneficial for him, I should say, to get those bonus seconds. But you see once again the peloton chasing after the breakaway. That means that I lost a bunch of energy already with Paul Fietzke. I need to maintain the position here for him. I will wait with our riders to make sure that we don't push out too quickly. And again, another breakaway forms. So this time I send Paul Fietzke out again. The peloton holding their legs still, so making sure to not chase after our riders. I'm hoping that they will not chase after Paul Fietzke once again, but you see him jumping away, and immediately the riders chase after him. So once again, a big effort here by Paul Fietzke to try to get into the breakaway, but unsuccessfully, sadly, this attempt as well. That means that we move once again towards the end of the stage. You see the hills have done a bit of a bit of a hit towards two of our riders. Asian Verity, our Irish rider, absolutely exhausted. Still in the peloton, thankfully, but absolutely exhausted. Florian Carpentier has done his push up this little mountain / hill, and that means that we are at the front of this peloton in a pretty good position here with 3 kilometers to go. Still 4 riders remaining. Once again, we have a lot of our riders remaining, so I'm hoping to have a good result in this race as well as we had in the previous one. 2 kilometers left. You see the 1 kilometer mark there. I sprint relatively early again with Severy Savrikowski. Paul Fietzke now jumping as well. Christoph Kroll jumping from the wheel, but he's having issues trying to get loose from the wheel, but he does manage to quickly split through the 2 riders there and gets across the line once again as first. What an incredible result once again by Christoph Kroll. Another first place here in the Tour of Hellas. 2 victories here in the first 3 stages. So once again, not the best time trial that he had, but a great result here in this 3rd stage. Obviously, was the favorite in the 1st stage as well, but now proving his favorite role here in the 2nd and 3rd stages of the International Tour of Hellas. An incredible result here by Christoph Kroll. The rest of our riders finishing just a little bit behind. You see here a 9th place for Paul Fietzke and a 10th place for Severy Savrikowski. So still 3 riders in the top 10 is an incredible result here in this race. No real gaps here towards any of the other riders, so I don't think Paul Fietzke or Severy Savrikowski will really move up too much. Maybe on the positioning that they have, but not really seconds-wise. So no real opportunities for our riders there. The remainder of our riders finishing a little bit later in the peloton, but no time gaps for them, thankfully. Thanks to the bonus seconds, however, Christoph Kroll moving up all the way to 2nd place now. 1 second off the lead, in a great position now for these last 2 stages. Again, glass half full, so we have plenty of seconds to gain on those riders, on the riders in front of us. We are the ones that are chasing. It's always a slightly better feeling to chase than to be the defending rider. So I'm hoping that we can do well here with Christoph Kroll in the 4th stage as well. 2 victories so far, the leader of the points jersey as well, thanks to those victories. We are nowhere in the mountain classification. It is not really a goal of ours. 2nd in the Young Riders classification as well as we are in the general classification. And we are 4th in team classification. So a great position to be in. Still 2 stages left to go. This 4th stage, once again, rather flat towards the end. It looks like it dips down a bit and then goes up. So maybe a bit more for the punchers. But I don't think that little uphill section will prove too difficult for the sprinters. So again, a race for the sprinters. A chance for Christoph Kroll.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat. The race will take place under a bright sun.
Once again, I'm trying to send someone out into the breakaway. This time, Joseph Turnbull, about 2 minutes off the number 1, so no real chance for him to move up to many positions with those bonus seconds. However, any bonus seconds for us are welcome. We've not really gained any in this tour so far, except for the ones at the finish line, I guess. So finally, we can get some bonus seconds here with Joseph Turnbull in the breakaway that's actually able to escape, but not really too hard. You see, he does sprint away towards that 1st place in the points, but the peloton is less than 1 minute behind the group, which is tricky for Joseph Turnbull, especially with this hill that comes up. So I want for him to relax and make sure that he makes it all the way towards the end. Otherwise, those bonus seconds will be for naught. And we are here at the end. Once again, a sprint finish will happen here for sure. Joseph Turnbull absolutely exhausted. Also after his initial stint in the breakaway, not really able to recover too much energy. Already pushed forward here in this last stage of the race to make sure that we could deliver these riders once again towards the finish line in the front of the peloton. We're looking great. Also statistics-wise, looking really, really strong here once again. Doing the same setup as we have in the previous races. I want to try and keep our riders with as much energy as possible. Can we do another amazing sprint here towards this finish line? There's a bit of a corner there. I want to sprint just before the corner because the finish line is right around here, or right, the 1 kilometer sign is right around here. Again, Christoph Kroll being slightly blocked here by Paul Fietzke. Severy Savrikowski actually looking in lead position here. Getting passed now by the other riders. No additional victory here in this this 4th stage of the International Tour of Hellas. A 2nd place this time for Christoph Kroll. Paul Fietzke with a 4th place as well, just outside of that podium. Severy Savrikowski in 5th. So no additional victory here for Christoph Kroll. but additional bonus seconds here, at least at the line, so that's great. 6 additional bonus seconds here for Christoph Král, as you can see. So I'm hoping that that will propel him into the lead here in the general classification. A 4th and 5th place for Paul Fietzke and Severy Sapkowski. An amazing result here by the team. And there we go. In the general classification, we are now in 1st with Christoph Král. No positions upwards with Paul Fietzke and Severy Sapkowski because there were no gains of bonus seconds, sadly. The rest of our riders moving up a couple of positions due to some other riders that were left behind, with no one in the top 20 sadly moving up here from our team, except for Christoph Král, who is 1st in the points classification still, of course, 1st in the Young Riders classification, 1st in the general classification, and we are still 5th actually in the team classification. So a little bit to improve there. With this 5th stage of the Tour of Hellas. Again, another flat stage, another perfect one for the sprinters. All we need to do is make sure that we finish either in 1st or in 2nd with Christoph Král to maintain the lead that we have in the general classification.
Hello and welcome. Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat. This morning, a few riders told me that they weren't too motivated at the thought of riding in such conditions.
There we go, rainy weather here today for us, and that immediately has an impact on the statistics. Christoph Král looking as strong as ever, however, so he is looking really, really good, especially with the sprint that he needs to perform in today, hoping that he can win the general classification here in the Tour of Hellas. That will be the goal of today. Again, some mountain points and sprint points here at the beginning of this stage, but I honestly don't think they are too much of a chance here for us to really gain anything. The mountain jerseys obviously not very interesting here. You see me checking out the riders in front. Are they in the top 10 of the general classification? Do they form a threat here for Christoph Král? The answer is no. So we move on towards the final parts of this stage. Fedetti and Carpentier exhausted for some reason. 9 minutes behind the peloton. They must have lost the wheel at some point and were unable to really get back into this race. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but it's a poor showing here from 2 of our riders. Less than 5 kilometers to go. You see the energy also slowly but surely running out a little bit quicker than the previous couple of stages. I want to hold out. I want to stick here up front in this slight uphill section. Severy really pushing himself to make sure that our riders get delivered towards the top step as quickly as possible. You see we are still up front with 2 kilometers to go. Doing a relatively early sprint here with Paul Fietzke. 1 kilometer left. Already a lot of energy of Christoph Král away here from him. Can he manage to make it towards 1st place in the stage here? Yes, he does. An incredible result here by Christoph Král. What a movement here by him. It was unexpected here for me, honestly. In this final part of the stage, his energy was already half gone, so I did not expect him to do that well in this final sprint, but a great result here by our Czech rider. A really, really strong effort, and that means that he has another win here in the Tour of Hellas. 3 victories here, there's 3 stage victories here in the Tour of Hellas. Incredible result here by our Czech rider. Really, really strong here in this tour. Is this the resurgence of Christoph Král? Is this the moment that he keeps peaking forward? He already did well in the previous episodes as well. This is the first part of the season that the part that he peaked in last year as well. So maybe this is the area that this is the time that he starts showing up once again. Hopefully he can keep that momentum going towards the rest of this year. The winner of the general classification as well, the winner of the young riders classification as well. So an incredible result here by the team, to be honest. Really, really well done. Unexpected, hoped for, of course, but unexpected to be this strong here in this race with Christoph Král. Paul Fietzke there, you can see very quickly as well, in 7th in the Young Riders classification. I'm not entirely sure who was in the general classification. So we'll go ahead and take a look right now. Paul Fietzke in 16th in the end. Sadly, some of the other riders got some bonus seconds there at the line. So 45 seconds behind Christoph Král. Still an incredible performance here by our German rider. Performed really, really well, honestly, in these stages, but not really rewarded in that general classification, sadly. The other riders also moving down a little bit. Severy Sapkowski moving up. Most importantly, Christoph Král, number 1 in the general classification. Somehow we lost the points lead. That's unexpected. Anyway, Young Riders classification is for us, and a 5th place in the team classification as well. Talking about flat stages, welcome to the first stage of the Tour of Hainan. Another very flat stage, a very short stage at that, less than 100 kilometers, perfect for the sprinters. You see none of our riders, however, in that top 10 position, so I'm hoping to make sure that we can make an upset here and win this stage.
Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat. The race will take place under a bright sun.
And here we are with the team, mostly Korean to be honest, with one of our French sprinters here, hoping that he will make sure that he can upset these favorites in today's race. Sending out Heo relatively early here as well to try and be part of the breakaway. There are bonus seconds up ahead, so I want to try and get those. I don't really care about the mountain points to be honest. So I want to try and get those bonus seconds, which would be good for the general classification. And in the meantime, we'll defend our riders, make sure that they are all protected and safe for the final part of this stage, which we don't really have great statistics in, which is an issue. As you can see here, making sure that we use our mountain riders first to lead out the sprinters. They will never sprint towards a podium finish here in these first stages. So it will be important to use them to make sure that we get a good result here in this race. You see Jae-won-jun now finishing his pole, 3 kilometers, so a bit over 3 kilometers remaining, a little bit more than 3 riders as well. So Heo now doing his lead out now. You see the 1 kilometer mark just up ahead. Heo did his fantastic pole, sprinting very early here with Matthijs van Strijten, much too early I would even say, but looking at the previous stages I was hoping that this will have a good effect here on this race. Adrien Vial actually doing a great boost here, jumping from the wheel. No first place here for him, a top 3 at least. Yes, a top 3 here for our French sprinter. Great result here for him. Not one of the 10 favorites of this race, but a 3rd place here for our French sprinter. This is exactly what we hope for. We obviously try and sprint with our remaining riders as well to try and get as good of a position in the general classification. But an upset here by Adrien Vial, getting a 3rd place in this first tour of the Tour of Hainan. A 2-point pro race, so I'm expecting to perform here as well, even though I don't necessarily have my full A team with me. I'm expecting to do well here in this race. And a 3rd place in this first stage is a great start. I immediately wanted to reward Adrien Vial with a new contract, with a longer contract, because even though he has been in the team for a short amount of time, he has been performing very well. This very young French rider doing extremely well here in the team. Maybe something that we should keep an eye on even for the future. And I'm very happy with our French rider, currently 1st in the young riders classification as well. Of course, see me also checking out some of the other Asian riders, hopefully increasing our strength of our team with some more Asian riders as well next year. Now let's quickly move on to that 2nd stage. Again, another very flat stage. It should be perfect for the sprinters, should be perfect for another stage victory or another good result here for Adrien Vial. Maybe a victory this time, maybe a better result than a P3. That's what we are aiming for here with our riders. Again, no hills here except for that little bump there right at the end and a slight uphill finish. It should be a perfect finish here for Adrien Vial.
Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat. It is under a bright sun that today's race will be run.
And welcome to the 2nd stage of the Tour of Hainan. Again, a very flat finish, a little bit of an uphill there. But it should not be a challenge here for our main sprinters. So we will sit here in the peloton and defend, especially in this stage. There is no point in being in the breakaway. All the bonus seconds and mountain points are towards the end of this stage. So being in a breakaway for the entire ride, for the entire stage, would kind of just waste our energy. I'm assuming it will not come to, or the breakaway will not come towards the finish all by itself. So we are chasing here on this little hill for some of these mountain points with our mountain riders, because why not? Chasing down that breakaway as well at the same time, trying to break open the peloton even more. You see Vial hurting here in this uphill finish. I was kind of hoping that he would survive this uphill finish and then was able to go with us across this little hill to win this descent, but it was just a bit too difficult here for Vial. We are gathered here now in this 2nd in-between sprint. Trying to sprint now, it's a little bit late here by our riders. I'm trying to get towards the front. A lot of our riders are being blocked here, but Jae-won-jun actually getting a couple of bonus seconds here in this in-between bonus sprint. I think it's 2nd place here for Jae-won-jun, so 2 additional bonus sprints, or bonus seconds here for our Korean rider. That means that we are now ready to make ourselves go for this final part of the stage. 9 kilometers remaining.
The sprinters are positioning themselves up front. It'll probably be a mass sprint finish.
It will definitely be a mass sprint finish here. I don't think that little uphill section will be much of a challenge for us. Once again, you see our mountain riders leading out the main bunch here for us. Making sure that Jaewon Jun is one of our main lead-out riders, and handing it over to the sprinters that will do their best to lead Vial towards the finish line. Actually put Matthijs up front here this time because he has poor statistics in this race, so I'm hoping that Jaewon Jun and other riders will help Vial towards that finish line, but we are running out of energy rather quickly. The peloton is splitting up bit by bit. However, you see a bit of a group behind where Hong is in as well. 30 riders in that group. Still 100 riders remaining. Some others are slowly but surely falling off the back. 1 kilometer remaining. We are in that uphill section now. Vial just slightly late with the sprint here. Slightly too difficult for him to be up front. Our positioning was excellent, but just launched him slightly too late. The other riders, positioning wise, had a better position, and that means that Vial does not get a second podium here in the Tour of Hainan. It was looking very good for us until the last kilometer. For a while it was looking super great, and then the last kilometer hit and we just lost all our positioning here with our French rider. That means that he also moves down 2 positions in the general classification. Jaewon Jun with those 2 bonus seconds, however, moving up 66 positions. A crazy result here for Jaewon Jun, moving him up into that top 20 very easily. A lot of our other riders moving down the list here. You see Hong Ji-won as well, part of that group that was left behind far at the bottom. Jaewon Jun, leader in the mountain classification as well, and our team sadly moves down a bunch of positions thanks to this poor result. Again, still 2 riders here in the top 10, so everything to play for, and that will definitely be relevant here in this 3rd stage, a very hilly stage as well. Again, one that could end in a mass sprint, but I'm obviously going to push in that final hill, maybe get some bonus seconds at the beginning, but that final hill is where we will go all out and try to break apart the peloton even more with our riders.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The route is fairly hilly, so there should be plenty of action. It's a beautiful day today. That should be to the liking of most riders.
So we are all the way up front here with a bunch of riders, and I'm sending out Hong once again. Again, the winner of the Tour of Thailand had some insane results in this year already. So our Korean rider could have a chance here in the breakaway, is what I'm hoping for. Or at least get some bonus seconds. Again, he is 2 minutes off the number 1, so he's not much of a threat towards the general classification. I'm just waiting for other riders to join the breakaway here, and hopefully he can gather some bonus seconds and then push on towards that final part of the stage. Again, I think it would be great if the breakaway makes it here, but it will be such a hilly terrain that we will be in a lot of difficulties. And sadly, no breakaway here for Hong, so we move on to that final hill, the hill where I said I will take you to. There's still a little group of 3 riders up ahead. The breakaway made it all the way up to here, but this hill is where they will strand. You see some attacks happening as well, some riders trying to break away from the group here, but we are up front. We are pushing up this hill, this very steep hill, where there's still 6 kilometers now in the hill left, which means that it will take a while before we are at that summit. It is a quite steep hill. We need to focus on making sure our riders even get there. You see Heo already exhausted, and we just entered the mountain basically, or the hill. So it's a bit of a tricky scenario. I want to keep my riders in the best shape as possible, especially until we at least get past the top of the mountain. Then we want to be part of the descent, in front of the descent, so we can hit that flat section all the way up front. But also I want to exhaust the sprinters in this race. I don't want to give them the opportunity to get towards that flat section. So that's why I'm pushing very hard here with our riders. The breakaway has been caught. You see the green jersey here as well being up front in the peloton. Other riders also pushing forward, making it difficult for the rest of the peloton as well. You see our riders suffering, most of the sprinters already exhausted. You see Vial also having so many issues to try and get across this mountain as well. His energy depleting very, very quickly. I even already used my energy gel on him to try and make sure that he survives this little mountain area. We should be looking good though for the descent. I'm sure that he will be able to attach back onto the group here. and we get across the line in these mountain points as first. That moves us up to a second and fourth place in the mountains. Not really super important for us, but now we can focus on that descent here now with our riders. Make sure that we gather back up with the group and try to sprint here in this final part of the race. Again, we want to be up front here in this flat section, and as we enter the flat section, there's still 4 kilometers remaining, so you see me giving it all here with our riders. We really are pushing. It's still a bit of a downhill section, so it's a lot of energy saving here for us, which is great. An early sprint here with Gregoire. I'm trying to try out this new tactic, which has been so successful in this Greek race, or in the Greek race that we had before. Now at the 1 kilometer mark, sprinting here with Adrien Vial. Can he make it all the way towards the finish line? No, he gets past once again at the finish line. A third place once again for Adrien Vial. The same result as he had in the first stage of the Tour of Hainan. Again, a third place here for Adrien Vial, our French sprinter who was in such a good position at that last kilometers, jumped away from the wheel of Juan Junjie, but sadly could not finish the job here. Juan Junjie getting across the finish line as 14th as well. The bonus seconds do help Adrien move up to a third position, so that's good. A podium position in the general classification at least. Juan Junjie moving down a bit because the other riders getting those bonus seconds. The rest of our team also moving up. Apparently the hill was very difficult for a lot of these riders, so they were finishing quite behind. You see Heo and Hong in that group that was left behind. Obviously, the riders that started the hill for us having such a difficult team riding up that mountain. So in the end, they were dropped and left behind. That does mean that a lot of our other riders move up. So we are in a good position still. 2 riders in the top 10, Adrien Vial in the 3rd place. Let's quickly go on here to the 4th stage. Again, another flat race at the end. We just need to survive a couple of hills here in the beginning. That shouldn't be too big of an issue. And I'm certain this will be another mass sprint.
The profile of this race is quite flat. Expect a fast pace from the peloton. The weather conditions are excellent.
At least we have some excellent weather conditions here for the team. It sort of reflects into the statistics. You see here Jae Jun with a +2, so that makes me want to send him out here to try and get some mountain points here for him to at least get another jersey here in these mountain stages. I was kind of hoping for them to do well in the previous stage, our mountain riders, but again, the sprinters defining that stage, we could not push hard enough to break apart the peloton as much. So not much of a chance there. So we'll protect Adrien in the peloton and try to be in the breakaway here with Jae Jun. The peloton is hot on their heels, however. They do not want to let this group escape, which is a bit of a shame because I do want to grant Jae Jun that freedom, that availability to try and get some more points here in this mountain. He does in the end make it in the breakaway. You see here 2 riders remaining. Jae Jun was attacking once again, and here in this mountain line he barely makes it across the line as second, almost as first, but just got left behind there at the end, sadly. The other rider just a little bit better here than Jae Jun, our Korean mountain rider. That means that he does move up a bit in the mountain points, but there's still more mountain points to get here. You see that at the second mountain point line here. Again, the Australian rider doing a mighty sprint here towards that finish line, but loses his energy just before the finish line, and Jae Jun manages to pass him here on the line, which is great for him, getting the full load of mountain points here for Jae Jun, which should be 16 mountain points in total. The breakaway was plenty of minutes away from the peloton, so we make it here towards this first sprint as well. 3 additional bonus seconds here for Jae Jun, which will be huge for his general classification. 18 seconds behind the number 1, now 15 seconds behind, and that means we also make it here towards this last little mountain point. But look at the energy of Jae Jun. The cooperation within the group is totally gone. Jae Jun's energy is totally gone. I tried to make it here towards the finish line as first, or towards the mountain line as first, but once again Jae Jun not enough energy to finish the job, and that means another second place here in the mountain points on this hill. The peloton closing the gaps slowly but surely, I should say, and that means that I let Jae Jun fall back into the peloton. The moment we are there, however, you see there is a big split now 65 riders still left in the peloton. Heo, Jaewon-jun, and Adrien Vial in that peloton. The rest actually sitting behind, so we chased back the other peloton to make sure that we got all our riders together here for this mass sprint finish, as the commentator is indeed saying. 7 kilometers left to go. You see our 2 KoRail riders absolutely exhausted, now using the rest of our mountain riders to lead out the remainder of our riders to make sure that our sprint train is going. Jaewon-jun being the lead-out man for Adrien Vial. He got those 3 bonus seconds earlier, so I'm hoping that a good sprint for him will move him up even more in the general classification. Hoping that Adrien Vial can do a good sprint on his own as well without having a proper lead-out man here, basically. And we sprint here towards this finish line. 3 kilometers remaining here. It is a bit of a downhill section, so that should make it easier for our riders to conserve some energy, try to push harder. You see me already sprinting before the 1 kilometer mark with our riders because of this downhill section. It is so much speed here in this downhill section. Can Vial manage to pass any of the other riders? No, he cannot. Sadly, it is only our riders that are being able to get past. And that means that Adrien Vial once again ends up in a top 10 position here in this race. The remainder of our riders also finishing at around 15th and 20th position. A bit of a disappointment there from Adrien Vial. The positioning was great, but the end result is a bit lacking. A 7th place here in the end for him. It does move him up 1 spot in the general classification. Probably those bonus seconds that he got a little bit earlier, moving him up. Jaewon-jun still in the 10th place. Those bonus seconds just equaling him in making sure that he keeps that 10th place. But at least we now moved up 1 position here with Adrien Vial. Hoping that we can move up a little bit more in the next stage, as well as it is, I think, the final stage. I don't remember if it's 5 or 6 stages here. You also see the rest of our riders moving up a couple of positions as well. So it's looking pretty good for the team. 2nd place in general classification here in the Tour of Hainan. Again, it is a 2-point pro race, so it is a bit less than the 2.1 or the 1-point pro races that we are kind of used to racing at this moment. But I'm still hoping that we can do a little bit better and win this general classification. As you can see there, at least Adrien Vial is first in the Young Riders classification, so that's already good news for him. Let's see if we can improve and gain 10 seconds here in the final stage of the Tour of Hainan. Again, another flat finish here, so it will definitely be another mass sprint here at the end. A couple of hills here. Adrien Vial is 3rd in the list of favorites, so I'm hoping that he can beat those other 2 riders, get 1st place, and get those 10 bonus seconds.
The profile of this race is quite flat. Expect a fast pace from the peloton. It is under a bright sun that today's race will be run.
The bright sun reflecting in the statistics. A lot of plus statistics here for the team. Only the -3 here for our Belgian rider, so not a great statistic here for him. Sending out our French rider here to try and cover the breakaway, to try and get maybe some mountain points, maybe some bonus seconds. He's 20 seconds off the lead, 31st position, so any bonus seconds would also move him up rather a lot. But you see the peloton once again chasing after our riders, even though they shouldn't be too much of a threat here for the general classification. I don't think there's enough seconds on the line for them to really gain those, or to really decrease that gap from 20 to 0. So I don't understand why they're chasing this hard, but I guess maybe one of the other riders was already in the bunch there, trying to get those bonus seconds and trying to move up. You see us now here towards the last 7 kilometers. Once again, the breakaway did not make it towards the finish line. No one is surprised here. So we are in the sprint train getting ready for that mass sprint. You see Heo's energy already done. He's had some issues here on these hills. He's had some problems. And you see his energy slowly but surely decreasing into the red. Slowly diminishing even more and more. 3 kilometers remaining. We already used the main lead outs here from the team. Now we just need to make sure that we make it towards that last kilometer line so Adrien Vial can sprint. You see the other riders already sprinting as well, and I'm a bit late here on the jump, making sure that I jump with Adrien Vial at the last possible second. Can he make it towards the finish line here as first? No, the rider in the green jersey here makes it towards the finish line. The Irish rider gets across the line here as first. A 2nd place for Adrien Vial. Not enough bonus seconds to move him up into that 1st place. Big split here in towards the 2nd group. I don't know if that has any effect here on the general classification. No, the yellow jersey there part of that main group, and the Irish rider barely passing Adrian Vial just on statistics here, winning that last race, and therefore having a better finishing result, making sure that he takes over the second place here. Adrian Vial demoted back to third. Jaewon Jun very stable in that 10th position. The rest of our riders also not really moving up or down too much. We are all in that same position, so it's pretty okay. No big differences there. The most important factor is that Adrian Vial got that third place in the general classification, first place in the young riders classification, so at least we get a jersey here for the team, which is always positive, and we end up 11th in the team classification, so nothing to write home there. At least another third place here for our young French sprinter. Great job by him. Talking about the French, here is the French tour with the Pays de la Loire Tour. What a difficult name, unbelievable. 4 stages only, very hilly first stage, classified as flat, so it should be a sprint here in the end. Let's see if we can survive until that moment.
Today's terrain is fairly level, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat.
Again, it says good for those on the flat, but I think the hill riders will be the ones that will show up here in this race. You see, we also have most of our riders here that can sprint, but are also good on those hills. Owen Cole, Paul Fietzke being 2 of them. Christophe Krol with amazing statistics once again. This man has been on a roll in the past couple of episodes. He has been gaining more and more points here, not really showing up in those World Tour races, but in these stage races, doing incredibly well, winning stages, winning general classifications, being incredibly strong once again. It is Krol Christophe. Now on towards that last 10 kilometers, you see those hills have happened. They weren't too challenging for most of our riders. Most of our riders still had a lot of energy left, except for our young Italian rider who has now done his pull here for our sprint train, making sure that we are up front here in the peloton, making sure that we are moving up forward more and more. You see the finish line here. We will do another little circle here, and once we reach the end of that circle, we will get across that finish line with 6 kilometers left. 4 riders remaining. We are looking very strong here, making sure that we enter this descent here as the first group. So looking very, very good here with the team. I'm sure that we will need to push here in this uphill section that is coming up, and then we can sprint for a successful finish here. That is what we're hoping for. 3 kilometers remaining. You see the energy of Owen Cole running out, making sure that he makes space now for Severy Savakovsky, our Finnish sprinter, actually being really strong here on this hill. Look at him go, really moving forward here, making advantage of that little descent here. 1 kilometer remaining, sprinting now with Christophe Krol. Oh, a lot of other riders already jumped away. Can we make sure to beat them here towards the line? No, the gap that they made is just slightly too big. Christophe Krol here in the very strong sprint gets across the line here as 5th, surprisingly. I was sure a 4th place would be in the cards for him, and 11th place for Paul Fietzke. Not the result that we wanted, not really the stage finish that we wanted. We were expecting it to do a little bit better here towards the end of this stage. The sprint position looked very, very strong, but Christophe Krol just not quick enough there at the end. I wasn't probably quick enough to start that sprint for these riders, and that means that Christophe Krol has a top 5 position here in this stage. You see a lot of these Cofidis riders here towards the back of the peloton. Again, the hills very, very tough on those riders. We tried to maintain position here in this stage, make sure that we save all that energy towards those final parts, and that made sure that we got in a pretty good position towards the end. Sadly, we could not cash in that position with a podium place or with a victory here in this first stage of the La Loire Tour, but a 4th stage or a 4th place here for Christophe Krol also in the general classification. And let's see if we can improve that in this very flat, very short stage in the second stage of the La Loire Tour.
Today's terrain is fairly leveled, so it's ideal ground for those who are good on the flat.
What a horrible name the stage has, by the way. It's kind of a tongue twister. La Loire Tour. Very difficult. Anyway, jumping away here with Owen Cole, our American rider. There are bonus seconds here up for grabs at the beginning of this stage. A couple of mountain points as well, but we don't really care too much for those. What we want to do is gain those bonus seconds. You see here, obviously, in 27th position with a 10-second gap. towards the front. So if we can get 3 bonus seconds, that would already be huge for Owen Cole here. In the meantime, we'll defend Christoph Král and Paul Fietzke and Severy Savkovsky in the peloton. Make sure that they will be okay here and be ready for that final sprint. Again, very flat finish here, even a bit of a downhill finish. So I'm sure that this will be great for our sprinters. It will 100% be a mass sprint here. Now we do make it towards that first in-between sprint point. You see me getting ready to sprint, but I sprint once again a little bit late. Owen Cole unable to get past the Spanish sprinter here, making sure that he only gets 2 additional bonus seconds in this race. Not ideal for us, not really what we wanted, but you know, at least we'll take 2 additional bonus seconds here. Why not? I'm sure it will be beneficial for us at the end of this stage. Now setting up our sprint train with 7 kilometers to go. You see I'm a little bit late here. Most of our riders are already a little bit exhausted, trying to make sure that we get positioned properly here in the final parts of this race. 6 kilometers to go. It is a bit of a street circuit here in this big city that we are racing in. You see me moving up the riders here because Casaniga, our Italian rider, is not part of the sprint train yet. He came from too far in the back, was unable to move up, so he will have to deal with the sprint himself. Good luck to him. 3 kilometers remaining. You see us all the way up front here in this corner, a bit of a downhill section here, which means that we actually do a big sprint here, a big gap actually towards the peloton now with a lot of our riders, making sure to keep our sprint for a little bit later here. I know it goes uphill there towards the end, so I want to make sure that we keep our energy for that part, and we do keep our energy for this part. A top 3 here with KoRail. What an amazing result. A gap towards the yellow jersey as well. This is exactly what we wanted. There is the yellow jersey, and he gets across the line here together with Owen Cole and a lot of other riders as well. So a great job here by 3 of our riders dominating this second stage here in the La Loire Tour. An amazing sprint here by our Finnish sprinter. Paul Fietzke, the German rider, also doing well, and Christoph Král with a 3rd place. What a fantastic result here by our riders. And as you can see here, Severy Savkovsky taking the trophy here for the stage win. A great job by our Finnish rider, who maybe has not been having the best of general classification results, but these sprints are always mighty from him, and once again he wins another stage here in Pro Cycling Manager in our career mode. So great job here by our Finnish sprinter, who I'm hoping to also resign obviously for next year. It will be a bit of a tricky situation, as he apparently does not want to resign with us. Who would have thought? But we are fighting to keep him, of course. Our very successful Finnish rider, currently in 1st in the general classification, moving all the way up to 1st. Great job here by him. You see also Paul Fietzke moving up 9 positions all the way to 3rd. Christoph Král here in 4th as well, and Owen Cole moving up 20 positions towards the 7th place. Severy Savkovsky 32 positions upwards in 1st at the moment, 4 seconds off the number 2, so pretty good position here for us. 2 stages left to go. One very hilly stage towards the end, so maybe not ideal for him, but maybe we can break the other riders and make sure that Paul Fietzke gets across the line as 1st, or Christoph Král, or Owen Cole. We are in such a good position here. 4 riders in the top 10. All the cards to play here for us. We can send one rider away in the breakaway to make sure that he gets across the line and finishes as 1st, or we can just sit in the peloton and chase after breakaways, maybe do a good sprint towards the end, try and get more stage wins here. Either way, we are in a fantastic position. The young riders classification, 4 riders out of 4 in the top 4 of KoRail. Incredible job. And the team classification, we're in 1st as well. So I would say we're in a pretty great spot here, heading into the 3rd stage, which is a time trial. Oh no, I would say. A time trial is not our forte, but we have been working hard with our riders to perform in these time trials. Again, Paul Fietzke, our time trial specialist, always on a roll here in these stages. But we saw in the earlier race today that Christoph Král is actually the one in form. So I'm hoping that he will do well here in this 3rd stage. You see me here on the course with Paul Fietzke. Again, our time trial specialist, also in incredible form today. Christoph Král, +3 for him as well. Getting you through this very, very short time trial, only 4 kilometers. Bit of an uphill here in the middle section, and then it just goes downwards towards the finish line. So you can use a lot of energy to basically create a lot of momentum down this hill. I want to save it actually for the flat section that happens right here towards the end of this race, and that's where I want to push and use up all my energy here towards this finish line. What position does Fietzke get across? Only 11th. So not a good position here for the team. Severy Savkovsky, you see me taking over here towards the end. Still 1.6 kilometers to go for him. A bit of a downhill section, making sure that I push him all the way towards that finish line. Once again, can we make sure that he gets a good position here in the general classification? No, 58th, even worse here for Severy Savkovsky. An 11th position here for Paul Fietzke, not ideal. 22 seconds off the number 1 here in this stage. At 20th position for Christoph KoRail. Our Italian rider actually doing very well here in the time trial. And our general classification leader, Severy Savkovsky, in 58th. What does that do to the general classification? We move up with Paul Fietzke, actually. So a great job here by our German rider. Our Finnish rider moving all the way down to 14th. So not ideal for him. 22 seconds off the lead. Christoph KoRail here, 5 seconds off the lead as well. And our Italian rider moving up all the way to 28th. Great job here by him. Our French rider moving up as well. Our American rider sadly moving down a bit. But we are still in a very strong position here with only one stage left to go. We need to make sure that we defend Paul Fietzke's lead here in this race. Obviously, we are still greatly positioned in the team and the Young Riders classification, but we have a couple of seconds of a lead here in this very mountainous terrain. This should be Paul Fietzke's terrain. Can we defend his lead in general classification? Can he win the 4th stage here of the La Loire Tour? Let's find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The profile of the route is a fairly mixed bag, so everybody should find a section to their pleasing.
A very rainy day here today. A lot of bonus sections actually here in the beginning of the stage. You see there around a third of the stage there are 2 to 3 bonus sections or sprint sections that we want to get. Any additional bonus seconds are great. You see here I'm sending out Casaniga, our Italian rider, who is looking very strong actually with a +2 in statistics. 33 seconds off the lead, currently in 28th position. If he can get 9 bonus seconds here, or even 6 bonus seconds, it would help him immensely in the general classification. So I'm hoping that he can be part of the breakaway, and it's already looking rather strong here with 1 minute on the peloton. You see them chasing after it a little bit late, but I'm hoping that they will be able to stay away. And in the meantime, we'll defend Paul Fietzke, Severy Savkovsky, and Christoph KoRail, where Paul Fietzke not the best statistics today, even though he will need them the most as he has a general classification to defend. Now the breakaway did not really make it towards those point sections, and we failed to get any in-between sprint points and bonus seconds, so no good result for us there. That means that we have 11 kilometers to go here. You see Casaniga actually totally exhausted from that being in the breakaway, so no chance for him to get a good result here in the end of this race. Less than 10 kilometers remaining. 4 riders of ours remaining as well, and now we have 2 downhill sections, and then we'll head into an uphill section as well. These downhill sections will be great to get some energy back here for our riders. We will definitely need that in that final section of this race. Only 7 kilometers remaining here, which means that we will push ourselves here now over this little in-between hill. Make sure that we get across this hill as first, get into the break or in the descent as first as well, so we can keep up that positioning and then hit that final mountain, which I think is only around 1 to 2 kilometers, not very long, and in first place, and make sure that we can push there in this final little hill that is coming up now. 3 kilometers actually in this hill. It should be perfect actually for our riders. We have 4 remaining. That means that 1 rider can do a kilometer each, and then we can sprint here with Paul Fietzke. We are looking very, very strong here, pushing up this hill as first. Still 2 kilometers remaining, but the energy actually is very quickly dissipating. The 1 kilometer mark is right there. I sprint very early with Paul Fietzke. 1 kilometer remaining. Can he make it all the way towards the finish line here? It does a little bit of a downhill section, then back into that uphill. Can he make it towards the finish line here as first? He does have a gap here towards the remainder of the riders. It is Paul Fietzke across the finish line here as first. Is it? Yes, it is. Just before the French rider, Paul Fietzke, the German rider, our talented hill time trialist, amazing rider, gets across the finish line as first, securing his general classification victory. I am certain of it. 10 additional bonus seconds here on the line. Severy Savkovsky getting across the line here as 6th as well, and Christoph KoRail as 8th. An incredible result here for the team. Really, really, really well done here by our riders. A first place in the last stage of the La Loire Tour. by Paul Fietzke, getting that trophy, getting the flowers. An incredible result here by him, making sure that even though he was exhausted, was able to beat that French rider, showing a very, very strong performance here once again in this stage and in this tour. That nets him the victory. Christophe Krol actually doing incredibly well here as well. Second place here for him in the La Loire Tour. 19 seconds off Paul Fietzke, but a great result there for him. Severy Savkovsky you see there in 8th as well. What a great result here by the team. But Paul Fietzke, the winner of the yellow jersey here today. Great job. Additionally, Paul Fietzke wins the points classification, of course. A bunch of victories, a bunch of podium positions here by him. Definitely, worth of that green jersey, of the points victory. Christophe Krol in 3rd place as well. So, pretty good job here by our riders. Most of our riders here in the top 5. Young riders classification, obviously for Paul Fietzke as well. Beating out the riders like Paul César, who is having an incredible season in real life. That just shows how good Paul Fietzke is. Keep an eye on him for the future in real life as well. You never know. I wish Pro Cycling Manager was like a good comparison to real life, but it is what it is. And KoRail also winning the team classification here in this French Tour. A great job here in the results by our team. You can see here, first in the stage, first in the general classification. Krol Christophe moving up until 3 places, until 2nd place. Severy Savkovsky also moving up 6 places into 8th. A fantastic result here by the team. That means that little sprint there towards the end, that little uphill section, was too difficult for a lot of riders. You see here Diego and Florian moving all the way down as well. Just too difficult of a final section here for many of these riders. First in the points classification as well. First in the young riders classification and first in the team classification. An incredible result here by KoRail. Proud of Severy here as well, moving him up to 8th. And Christophe Krol, a good 2nd place finish once again. That means that we have a lot of victories actually in this episode. We gained 7. That means that we doubled the amount of victories that we already had. Christophe Krol on the top of that list. Great job here by him. Paul Fietzke currently in 3rd on the list. And Noa Isidore, strong but in 2nd place here. Hoping that he can keep performing in the coming episodes. I'm sure in the points he'll be very much still up front, as he didn't really ride in today's episode. So no change will be happening there, but no additional victories for him either. Great job here by our riders. You see Adrien Viel 4 3rd places at the moment. And then here are the points. As you can see here, Noa Isidore all the way on top here. Paul Fietzke currently in 2nd, but the gap towards 1st place is very quickly becoming less. It's very quickly decreasing. Christophe Krol also fighting for that 2nd place position. Adrien Viel overtaking Owen Cole as well. So currently a very close 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th position in the team points wise. The rest of our riders also doing pretty okay, scoring additional points here and there, so they're also moving up slightly in the list, as you can see. Now that was it for today's episode. Again, no World Tour races, sadly, but I hope you still enjoyed the other stage races that we had. Hopefully in the next episode, which we will, have really cool World Tour races. So be sure to tune in for that one. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope to see you next time. Goodbye.